Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another video. The World According to Lonza. Tonight is May the 4th, 2026, and that means Happy Star Wars Day, everybody. Um, and here are my hot takes. I'm going to give you 4 hot takes, and I thought, since it's Star Wars Day, Star Wars Celebration, May the 4th be with you. Or May the Force be with you. Here's my hot take number 1. This is how I enjoy watching Star Wars, the Star Wars saga. There's 2 debates. Some people say, a lot of fans say, the only way to watch Star Wars is the release date order. That's the one. New Hope from the 70s starts off, and then the Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and then Episode 1, 2, 3, and then 7, 8, 9. I prefer the chronological order. And a lot of people go, well, how would the people who haven't seen Star Wars before, they're looking out for all the little details. And I would say, let's have some shocks. We don't need to, let's have some people not know that Anakin Skywalker turns into Darth Vader. Not know how the Emperor came to be. Kind of have it be. I don't like story. I don't mind prequels, but if I had it my way, I would always love to see stories start from the beginning and then work their way forward. Prequels, a lot of prequels can be awesome. House of Dragons is amazing, and also The Rings of Power is a good prequel. But in generally, I like my stories moving forward. So here's the hot take number 1 is I always, when I'm by myself tonight, including here's the shows that I watch with, here's the movies and TV shows. Here's the order how I watch Star Wars. You can even start off with the Acolyte, which is a story that takes place before Episode 1. Then you could jump to Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, Star Wars Episode 2, The Attack of the Clones. Then you watch the Clone Wars. Those are cartoons. I know, but that's like lots of Clone Wars. You don't have to watch all the Clone Wars at once, but I mean, those are like 20-minute episodes, and it's like 6 seasons. That's a lot of stuff. And then from what I'm seeing is, after that would be, let's see, it would be the Darth Maul series, and then Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then Han Solo, the Solo movie by itself, Solo, then Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then we get into Andor series, which is a great series. That's the beginning of, how the rebels became the rebels and behind the construction of the Death Star. That's good to watch. See a lot of more stuff than just the basic movies. So, yes. Uh, here we go. Timeline order, the official timeline order. The Acolyte, Star Wars, Phantom Menace, Episode 1, Attack of the Clones. Episode 2, Clone Wars, Revenge of the Sith, Bad Batch, Maul, Solo, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Star Wars Rebels, Andor, Rogue One. Then I didn't just name all those. Then we're at the 1977 movies, Star Wars: A New Hope. Then 1980, Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. Then after Return of the Jedi, we jump all the way from that to The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, Star Wars Resistance, Star Wars: The Force Awakens. That's episode 7. And then it's episode 8, The Last Jedi. And then Rise of Skywalker is episode 9. And next year, 2027, Starfighter will be not episode 10, but takes place 5 years after after Rise of Skywalker. And there's rumors that maybe, even though it's supposed to be a standalone story, and we know that some of the legacy characters are not going, even Rey and some of them aren't supposed to make an appearance. I'm guessing they will still make maybe a mention or a cameo. And we definitely see the progress of what's happening to some of our friends from the sequels, like Poe and Finn and Rey, and is Ben Solo, Hunt for Ben Solo, is he going to be resurrected? Alright, so that's my hot take number 1, is that I like to watch them in chronological order, including the TV shows. Even if you haven't seen this Star Wars before, chronological order, I think is still the way to go, and people would not like that. Alright, hot take number 2. I'm not really a good film critic of Star Wars. I'm not the biggest fan. You know why I'm not the biggest fan of Star Wars? Is because I'm a fan. I'm a fan. Don't get me wrong. I'm a fan. I'm not like a hater fan, but I'm definitely would not consider myself a gatekeeper, and I don't like to do rankings. You know, I did one on TikTok. I don't really have a favorite or least favorite. I like to say Rise of Skywalker is my favorite, just to kind of tick off the fanboys, because that's supposed to be the worst one. But I generally enjoy all the movies for what they are. I don't have any expectations. That's my hot take. Don't have expectations. Don't try to. Just kind of go with the flow. It's not your story. I mean, you can have fan fiction. Fan fiction is amazing, but Star Wars is also a story that's never ending. It's never going to end. It's a huge universe. It could go on forever and ever 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 and ever. So the people that say, why do we need more Star Wars? Because why did we need the first one? You know, it is my hot take number 2, that Star Wars is a never-ending story. It's just a universe that is going to be infinite for eternity, forever and ever, until they decide to stop making them. Hot take number 3. Now this is going to piss a lot of you guys off, and I love George Lucas. He's a great creator. He is. We wouldn't have Star Wars without him. We can't thank him enough. He is a genius writer, and I don't say that lightly. There are not too many. I would consider him like a Homer, man, like a great philosophical thinker, a Shakespearean even. The George R. R. Martin and George R. R. Martin, the two Georges are really, really epic fantasy creating storytellers. George R. R. Martin and George Lucas. However, there's probably a reason why George R. R. Martin didn't take up directing. George Lucas is a passionate director, storyteller, not the best dialogue-y storyteller, maybe not the best director of all the directors. I definitely need a lot of help. He's a visionary person, had a brilliant first story, but at the end of the day, George Lucas sold the franchise. He's he's not the creator anymore. He's the creator, but he's not. He passed the baton to Disney, and it's time for Star Wars fans to let it go. He's not coming back. Um, he likes some of it. He maybe not likes some of the other stuff. Um, he's always been, in my opinion, he still gets credit. I guarantee you, if you watch if you watch Mandalorian and Grogu, you're gonna still see his name on the screen at the end credits. He still gets credits in He still gets credits in IBM. But a lot of the fanboys and gals are holding on to like his original idea, and whether or not you like what Disney did with it, um, it's time to let it go. That's my hot take number 3. It's just time to move on. It's like trying to get a girl that you like to come back to you after you broke up. Um, this is a little bit of part 3, and I like. This might be part 4. I'm gonna put this in part 4. I'm gonna say this loud and clear. The sequels are amazing. They're more like Shakespeare to me. Like, as the first one has more politics and more kid friendly, the family adventure, the ones that we grew up, Leia, Luke, Princess Leia, Han Solo, the hero's journey, C-3PO, the comedians, the those three. The trilogy, the original trilogy, as I say, is not. I don't consider Star Wars a trilogy anymore. I consider it like a saga. But the original trilogy is beloved, and it should be beloved. And I've mixed, but although I do have a little bit mixed feelings about some things that Disney's doing with just trying to sometimes they never cater. They need to just cater to everybody. Really, you try to you one fan base loves you and the other fan base hates you. Then you switch sides. You're like switching teams every time. Just I think that's cool that they add the legacy characters in Star Wars land, but just don't get rid of the sequel characters. You have Rey there, I like it, and you have Kylo Ren in the end. You could add more. You could add Poe. You could add Finn. Um, Ahsoka's there already. Um, Padme, prequel characters. You could add more. Anyway, that's what I think about the new Disneyland announcements. I know a lot of people are happy, but my hot take is I would have Ben Solo and Rey there. Um, walking around Galaxy's Edge, holding hands. I'll have Force Ghost Anakin Skywalker. You be creative. This is talking about Disneyland, Galaxy's Edge. Um, you can have old Luke, old Han Solo, old Princess Leia. It goes on and on. More Ewoks. Jabba the Hutt. Oh, that would be great. A Jabba the Hutt ride, walkthrough, would be amazing. And his kid, I forget his kid's name. We'll find out in Malin and Grogu. So that's my hot take number 4, which is kind of a mixture of hot take number 3. Is that let George Lucas go, give him his flowers, but let him go. And like, for instance, spoilers. I think you guys know this probably. Who watch my channel have seen Star Wars all of them a million times. I didn't mind when they killed off Han, when they killed off Luke. It's Shakespearean to me. That's why I like the sequels. It's more a little bit more. It is a little bit more unhinged. Wannabe empire. A bunch of punks trying to pretend like a bunch of frat boys trying to pretend like our government is today, trying to pretend that they are the Empire when they're really not, and I think that's what I like about the new sequels, where the prequels had established politics. The original trilogy had its force, um, real. I hate to use the trigger word again. Nazis, no, because the obviously the emperor was a Nazis that was diverse, I guess. But I digress. And one last little final thing. This is the biggest thing that I can't stand when people say this. People think there's too much politics, too much identity politics. Star Wars is woke. Star Wars is this. Star Wars has been woke, in my opinion, since the 70s. It's just a different time of, different type of feminism. You can't argue with me that, you know, Princess Leia was one of the most feminist heroes in this century, and yet she's beautiful, and she kicked Jabba's ass with a slave bikini. And let's not lie that most of our men who in the room saw those scenes and had those crushes of. I'm going to admit that Princess Leia is probably one of my first crushes growing up. Something about all the Star Wars ladies. For something of the hair. Rey has beautiful hair. Princess Leia has beautiful hair. Padme has beautiful hair. Ahsoka. She's kind of like an alien. She has pretty hair too. Anyways, so happy Star Wars Day. That is it. That's my hot takes. Let's see if I can think of anything else. Oh, two more ways you can watch. You can psych yourself to watch Star Wars. If you really want to get to the original trilogy, and you want to have like a little bit of like homework before, try watching 1950s science fiction movies, and then jump to 1960s science fiction movies. See where I'm going? And then 1970s, early 60s, 2001. Watch 2001. Watch Planet of the Apes. Build your way up to 1970s sci-fi, and then you can totally have a 1970s sci-fi adventure, and then you can start with, and then you can like jump towards the 80s with Star Wars. I like to watch, or you can have a director's, you can have a George Lucas and Steven Spielberg marathon. Check that, that would be fun. Watch 1971 Duel with Steven Spielberg. 1973, you can watch American Graffiti with George Lucas. Jump to 1975, you can check out Jaws. And then 1977, you can also watch Close Encounters of the Third Kind with George Lucas and Star Wars. So there's many different ways to have a pre-marathon of good old science fiction that does not just contain the Star Wars films and TV shows. Inspirational movies as well. You can watch inspirational movies as well. And then for the 90s, there's lots of good 90s sci-fi. The Matrix. You could do a 1999 marathon. The Matrix, Fight Club, American Beauty. That's more not sci-fi, but and Star Wars Episode 1. Because right after Star Wars, X-Men came out in 2000. So we started the MCU, and then Christopher Nolan after that with Batman Begins and his Dark Knight trilogy. Inception, Her, and a whole bunch of other wonderful science fiction, Interstellar, a whole bunch of other fantastic science fiction films. Of course, and you could add in Star Trek. If Star Wars versus Star Trek marathon, there's lots of ways to do it. So, 20 minutes is up. That's usually the length of my video. Okay, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Oh, and may the force be with you.